Rex Ryan on ESPN's Get Up talked about Baker Mayfield, and the message has been pretty consistent from Rex Ryan.
When I said Baker Mayfield was overrated as hell, all right, I got ripped for it or whatever. No, I told the truth. It's only based on 30 years coaching experience, being around the game all my life.
Yeah.
And I know what an elite quarterback is, and I know what one isn't.
Right.
Baker Mayfield is not an elite quarterback. It's okay. Baker Mayfield doesn't lose games for you, but he doesn't win games for you either. All right, his rankings are in the 20s in almost every single category. Against man coverage, this was a disaster matchup coming in. And that's what I said yesterday when I said New England would
Why is it a disaster matchup?
Because he doesn't throw well against man coverage.
Yeah.
By the way, maybe having Odell might have helped against man coverage, but he wasn't there. But he's a guy that throws the ball once you get open. He doesn't throw with timing anticipation. That's not Baker Mayfield. He holds the ball too long. That's why he takes too many hits. There's a lot of things. Look, he has to have everything right, Greeny. Yep. All right? What is right? Well, having two Pro Bowl running backs is right, but guess what? They weren't there. Now,
Dearness Johnson.
Yeah, he played well. He had 100 yards rushing.
Yes.
Okay? You have three Pro Bowl offensive linemen. One of them was out. Well, guess what? I can't perform now. I only have two Pro Bowl offensive linemen.
And Scott Petrak, I don't know how fair that is, but the Browns do have a dilemma with Baker Mayfield just because, they picked up the fifth-year option. They got to decide. He's clearly nowhere near 100%. I think the leg was bothering him a little bit more than was let on. It didn't seem like his ball had as much zip downfield. And again, I'm looking at it and just knowing what I've seen from Baker Mayfield in the past. But having said that, it's a real dilemma that they've got to decide, is this their guy? And this is almost a lost year in terms of helping them decide that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd say that, however, whatever confidence level the Browns front office entered the season with, that, hey, Baker's the guy and the long-term guy, and we're going to sign him to an extension. And I thought that was high, maybe 90% that it was headed toward an extension. I certainly feel that number is way less, has declined a ton. So not only do they not have an answer regarding Baker Mayfield, I think there's even more doubt within the organization, and that's just given how the season's gone. And yes, injuries are playing a huge part in it, or a part in it. And I'm struggling to find out or kind of define for myself just how big a part the injuries have played, because, he's still on the field. Making the bad decisions isn't because you have a bad shoulder, a bad knee, or bad foot. It's just making bad decisions. And that's not affected by that. But I do think it makes it a lot harder for the front office and the coaching staff to correctly evaluate Mayfield when you don't know to what degree compromised he is going out there every week with this series of injuries. And I think that's really difficult for the organization. And, sitting here right now in week 10, you start to think of, okay, what do you do next year, right? Is it as simple as, okay, Baker got one more year, or do you come up with options for next year? A guy to compete with Baker or a guy to replace Baker. I mean, these decisions don't have to be made until the season's over, but they're the kind of things you're going to have to talk about when he's done little this year to build on what was a great second half of last season.
Yeah, and the numbers yesterday, 11 of 21 completions, which is concerning. His average completion's just 3.5 yards, and that kind of tells me that, the ability to drive the ball down the field was a little bit more compromised. The interception was a bad one. Is he just not seeing coverages? I mean, that was the last place that throw should have gone.
Yeah, you're right about that. That was a terrible interception. It was a bad decision. It was a worse throw, or maybe the other way around. Bad throw, worse decision. It's tough because I do think sometimes he struggles to see the field. And when you show that Rex Ryan clip, Baker is never going to be an elite prospect given his size and his physical limitations. Right? He can move, but he doesn't move like Mahomes or Jackson or Allen. Obviously, he's not nearly as tall as them. He's got a good arm, but he doesn't have an unbelievable arm. So for Baker to be worth the number one overall pick and play at an elite level, he would have to do things like Drew Brees did and Russell Wilson, which means you see the field, great. You're extremely accurate. You make great decisions and quick decisions. And when Baker doesn't play well, those are the things you come back to. And yesterday, to me, it felt like Belichick's defense took away his first read a lot. And then Baker could not get to that second and third read effectively or quickly enough to find that open guy. And that's not a good thing to say about a quarterback.